Imagine you're a professional footballer and you can barely make a living from it. Your biggest drive, this one big goal, Europe, the biggest leagues, to become the next Yankuba Minte, Moussa Barrow or Omar Colley. Today we're going to immerse ourselves in the everyday life of Yusupha Darboe, a first division player in the Gambia, the smallest country on the African mainland. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it's a different world. In today's video we're traveling to the Gambia, on the west coast of Africa, and we talk about the GFA League First Division, about the reality of players pursuing a big dream and making big sacrifices to achieve it. Today I have the support of Yusupha Darboe, who better to tell me about the day-to-day difficulties, but also the opportunities for footballers in the Gambia. So that we're all on the same page, I'd like to introduce you to Yusupha. He was born on the 29th of December 2005 and will be 19 at the end of the year. Everyone calls him Angel, his nickname. He comes from the village of Kandonku in the Foni Bintang district on the west coast of the Gambia. He was trained as a footballer on the street, barefoot on sand, always playing with the older boys after school if there was a ball available. The first club where he played documented football was Sporting Real FC, then Waa Banjul FC before moving to Fortune FC in 2023. Still won't say anything to most people here, because Gambian club football is not necessarily well known around the world. So let's take another quick departure and talk about Fortune. The club doesn't even have its own English language Wikipedia page, unlike many amateur clubs in Europe. But the club is also simply younger than most amateur clubs in Europe, having only been in existence since 2012. The club says about itself, known for playing good football and developing international players for the Gambia. The club comes from the village of Farato in the Madiana region, close to the seacoast. It takes around 45 minutes by car to get to the capital Banjul, but matches are played in the next largest town, Brikama, at the Boxbar Mini Stadium. Training always takes place at the FIFA Goal Project in Old Yundum, 4 kilometers outside the city of Brikama. The biggest success is certainly the 2021 championship title with a 5-point lead over the teams from the capital. This also entitled the team to take part in the first round of the CAF Champions League in the 21-22 season. Their opponents were Sétif from Algeria, a team with completely different capabilities and actually unattainable. And yet, the team played the first leg in the Independence Stadium in Bakau, Gambia, and sensationally won 3-0. The country was upside down, until 8 days later in Algeria, when the big favorites also won 3-0 and the game went to penalty shootout. There, Yusupha Darboe lost his nerve with the last penalty and the miracle was missed. Only the COVID pandemic prevented these days from becoming real party days in the city and country. But back to Yusupha, known as Angel, who made his first appearances in the men's game in 2022 at the age of 16 and then moved to Fortune, one of the country's biggest clubs at the time, in 2023 at the age of 17. But you have to be careful here too. Big and successful does not mean attractive necessarily. The clubs that are attractive are those that have good connections to Europe and are part of a network to place players. Yusupha is also playing with the idea of accepting an offer from second division club Colley Stars, as they have excellent connections through club owner Omar Colley. In his career, which is still ongoing, he has already played in Serie A, Turkey and currently at PAOK Saloniki in Greece. So the network counts. For the players, the league is the platform to get themselves into the notebooks of European scouts and to make the big leap. Of course, Yusupha also dreams of this. Now you finally get to hear him.
Of course, I still have belief that I will make it in the professional league by God willing, because I believe in myself, I believe in my talents. It's just a matter of time. It's just to work hard and believe in myself and let the nature occur.
So Yusupha wants to make it into a professional league, because the Gambian league is far from being truly professional. Not all players are professionals, and the salary as a first division footballer in the Gambia is not enough for that. Yusupha is currently concentrating solely on football, but that's not so easy with a salary of $2,500, the equivalent of around 34 euros a month. That puts him at the top end of the league. Others get even less. There are teams in the league where the captain gets $1,000 a month, which is something between 15 to 20 euros. That's why many players live with their families, otherwise it's just not possible to concentrate fully on the sport and their own careers. There are currently 16 teams playing in the first division, with 30 match days. Some teams have their own bus, others have to hire one for away games. Fortune even has a fan bus. And then, how many people turn up to the games to heat up the atmosphere?
When you come to the turnout, to the field, I think that is not impressive because some games it's hardly for you to see 500 spectators. That is, I don't think maybe the desire and the commitment we saw in the professional league, I don't think we saw that in the Gambian league in terms of turnout.
So, first division football in front of 500 spectators, sometimes even less. The Gambia is a football crazy country. When the national team plays, the country sits in front of the television. But its own league? It hardly arouses any interest among the population. Perhaps this is also because there is no TV contract. The first division matches are not shown on television. If you want to watch a game, you have to hope that the club offers a live stream on its social media channels. It doesn't make it any easier for scouts from Europe if there's hardly any video material and then always in very mixed quality. So you can absolutely understand that there's this hunger to continue to make it, to use the league as a springboard to escape the vicious circle of poverty and lack of prospects through football. We all know the football fairy tales that players like Sadio Mane or Emmanuel Adebayor have written in Europe. But many dreams are shattered on the poorly maintained artificial pitches in the Gambia. At Fortune, the players are still doing quite well in comparison. The club is sponsored by a large oil company. The players even get bonuses when they win and they get meals after training sessions. This is by no means standard in the Gambian league. Fortune is the exception rather than the rule. The current champions, Waa Banjul from the capital, are certainly the richest club in the country, but even there you certainly won't become wealthy as a footballer. If we draw another comparison with Europe, a first division player can hardly just turn up in public without being recognized and having to sign autographs. Yusupha is not recognized on the street and has never had to sign an autograph outside the stadium. The only chance to become known is if you are nominated for the national teams. Even the national youth players reach a new level of fame. As soon as the Scorpions jersey is in the play, they become interesting for the people of the Gambia. Yusupha has made it to a few training camps for the under-20s and under-23s so far. He hasn't been allowed to play yet, but he has at least made it into the extended squad.
Yeah, I'm lucky to be nominated to be selected in the under-23 training camp twice and also for the under-20 All-African Games in Ghana. But for the senior national team, not yet, but I'm hoping and I'm praying to make it there.
The dream of the national team, it lives in Yusupha. It lives in so many young footballers in the Gambia, alongside Yankuba Minte, the great hope of an entire nation. We've talked about the 20-year-old here before. His story inspires players like Yusupha. Why? Because he himself played in the Gambia until 2022, 2 years ago, and he was still wearing the shirt of Steve Biko FC, at that time even just 1 year in the second division in the Gambia. Remember, it's not the league that counts, it's the platform. And that was good at Steve Biko FC. He stood out and was part of a trio that was invited to Denmark for a trial. He impressed. And after just 1 year, he went via Odense to Newcastle United for 8 million euros, who loaned him out to Feyenoord Rotterdam. Now, before this season, the next transfer, for 35 million euros to Brighton, finally arrived in the Premier League. These figures seem even more incredible when you consider that just a few years ago, Yankuba was one of those boys with a dream who couldn't actually make a living from football, but took it on anyway, and he made it. That's how quickly the path can go, without a big professional academy, without expensive shoes from childhood, from the tattered artificial pitches in the Gambia to the biggest league in the world. And who knows, maybe one day we can talk about Yusupha in a similar way. He believes in his dream, in his path, and it can lead to the top very quickly. But it can also burn out in the heat of the Gambia. Sometimes it's not talent and the hunger for success alone that makes the difference. Sometimes you just need that one chance that only a few are granted.
And I think our country is blessed with abundance of talent, so we took Yankuba as an inspiration. So we have many of talents in our league here. Yeah, so but we are having constraint when it comes to marketing.
Training 5 times a week, then a game at the weekend. Everything so that you're there at the right moment, when the right scout is on site and looking for a player in your position. Sacrificing everything, giving up everything for the great opportunity. This is what everyday life is like for Yusupha and so many other first division players in the Gambia. Will it all pay off? I hope so. Then I can tell you in a few years' time when we talk about Yusupha Darboe, the Bundesliga player or the Premier League player. And always remember, you heard about him here first. About the talented centre back from the Gambia who says he wants to be the next Edmond Tapsoba. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to write feedback in the comments and also let me know which league in Africa or which player you find exciting when I shed light on it. Whether it's Somalia, South Sudan or Sao Tome and Principe. Where there's a will, there's a way. So don't forget to subscribe, take care, see you soon.